everyone, and thank you for another edition of the Essential Review. Today, we are continuing our interviews of the guests that will be at the City of Oaks Comic Book Odyssey, which will be in downtown Raleigh, February 20th through the 22nd of 2026. Today, we have Karen Whitfield. How are you, Karen?
Fine. Hi, how are you?
Doing great, doing great. Karen is an incredible Batgirl impersonator who brings the Gotham's iconic hero to life. Known for her screen accurate cosplay, commanding presence, and passion for inspiring fans of all ages, Karen has taken her Batgirl portrayal across the country touring alongside the legendary Adam West and Bart Ward. From a classic Batman legacy events to modern fan conventions like the COCO, she embodies the spirit, the strength, and the fun of Batgirl. And we're excited to have her today as a guest.
Well,
Now,
thank you. It's nice to see you all. Thank you for having me always.
so let's start today with the basics, okay? Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you became involved with Batgirl?
I think the first involvement truly is when I was a little girl, and I know a lot of people out there that love the Batman, legacy, the same thing when they were children. And I was also a child. The first time it came out in 1966. I was 9 years old. And then I saw Barbara Gordon, which played by Yvonne Craig, when I was 10 years old, 1967. And I just loved that show. And I remember, and I saw the movie as well. She wasn't on that, but I saw that. And I remember, my brother and myself, we absolutely loved it. And we would, go to school. Everybody would be talking about the Batman show, and then we would race home to see it that afternoon. And then when I saw when they introduced Batgirl on there, I totally felt larger, braver, stronger, and just fell in love. Like, oh my gosh, there's a woman superhero. And I think it gave us all that empowerment of us little girls to go into being a woman. And then just 10 years later, I believe handed it up to God or the universe or whatever you want to say. And because I felt that. And then I met Burt Ward in the Raleigh Durham Airport in 1977. And that's when the Bronze Age era was going on. And they had that series that in February of 77. I met him. We became fast friends. I moved out to California in the right after Christmas of 77. And then in 78, I started traveling with him as Robin, and then met Adam West in March of 78. And then June of 78, I was introduced as the Bronze Age Batgirl. So I think it was always truly in my heart and my soul to do this.
Very nice, very nice. In the airport.
Yeah,
Okay.
who would have thought?
All right. Well, how do you see your work contributing to comics and the creative community?
Well, I see my work. I was there with them for about 7 years, and I was the only Batgirl that suited up and toured with them. And it was just so wonderful to see all the little girls and the moms and even the boys and the men to see that there was a female superhero. And I saw on the little girls' faces what I saw in myself when first time I watched the show. And just to be part of that legacy, to let them know, or be a trailblazer, to let women know and little girls know you can be a superhero in your own heart. You can always help people. You can be kind to people, and you never know what can happen. I mean, we never know what life is going to bring. And then now, when I left after 7 years to move back home to North Carolina, because the most rewarding job for me was to be a mom, and I wanted to be a mom. I had a wonderful one, and I wanted to be that. And so I decided to come back home and have my children and raise them. And I didn't want to raise them on the road or leave them. So I totally hung up my cape and in my back cave, so to speak, for 35 years, and I did that, and to come back on the scene again, and it's really so different than the first time when I was out there. Because we didn't have cosplayers, we didn't have Comic Cons when I was there. We just had, opening of malls, car shows, and things like that. And it was just the three of us that were suited up
Wow.
and putting on these little live performances. And so coming back out to letting women know, you know what, you can be a mom, you can have your career, but if there's something that you really wanted to do or really wanted to be after they're grown and they have their own families, you can still do that. You can still be that person and do that and know that it's not just the end for you. You can
Right.
still have yourself. I want people to see that as well, especially women.
Well, I think it's definitely inspiring just to hear about that. I have daughters myself, and just one of the things I fill them up with, the world is their oyster. They can do anything they want to do.
Right.
But the fact that, you're living here in Raleigh from the Triangle area, that in itself should touch the hearts and the souls of the young ladies in the area. And
Oh,
hopefully they'll come out and check you out
and
at the COCO.
I want to meet them all. I hope they all.
Well, that is good. Challenges. So what challenges did you face, whether it was back when you first started in the 70s or current day?
And boy, are they different. Because women are more accepted now in all kinds of life and all kinds of jobs and everything they do. They just want to do it themselves. And really, there's no one holding them back like it was back then. So to be a part of that back then, and then to know that I was accepted as that superhero and I was to carry on the torch out there in the world where Yvonne, wasn't doing that. I'm really glad that people accepted me at that time as the live incarnation of the comic character in the Bronze Era versus being on the show. That was one of my biggest challenges to let people know. But people didn't even ask back then, which is interesting because there were a lot of comics. That's where you start first is comics. So people had already read that, the 379 where Batgirl was introduced. And then they saw the show. And then when I came back out, I was wearing that suit. So it's like they didn't even really, I don't remember them asking. That's the thing, like, oh, you're not the Batgirl that was in the show. I think they just sort of understood there was the original comic character that was on the road with them versus the one that was in the show. I think that's what they understood because I was wearing that suit, the Silver Age suit, even though I was introduced in the Bronze Era. Um, but but now and leaving it, and it was very challenging to make that decision because I made a life out there. I loved what I was doing. I loved touring with them. I loved the fans. But then had to make a decision with my age. What was I going to do? Stay there and do become an actress because I was going down that path, or was I going to come home and be the mom that I always wanted to be? So I made the decision to come home. But then, hanging up my cape, not letting people know all those years that I did that. No one knew except for the people I went to high school with. And then when I came back out and I wrote the book and I honored Adam West when he died June 9th of 2017, my friends on Facebook were like, wow, how did we not know about this? I mean, all these years we've known you, how did we not know? Because I didn't want that to be still being on the fence. What am I going to do? So then I decided after, Yvonne passed away to go back out to visit people. And then I started my book 2017, the 50th anniversary of Batgirl, which 2027 is going to be the 60th anniversary of
Oh,
Batgirl.
wow.
So yeah, but so I wrote a book and published it in 19. Then when I decided to come back out in 2021, DC Comics gave me the authority to do that, and I have a contract with DC now. But for them to welcome me back home and then to come out and be accepted by all the fans, it's just been a really fun, surreal time to be accepted again after all those years. Some think that I'm Yvonne when they walk up and I tell them who I am. And some know, like, wow, she's come back because there
Well,
was a part of the legacy that was missing. And I'm glad that my daughter, she encouraged me to do it. And that's one reason why I did.
very good, very good. So now, Yvonne Craig, you met her, right?
Well, actually, I did not. I talked with her on the phone a few times, but I did
Mhm.
not. And I really wish that I had. And, I talked about she could have come out with us, actually. The four of us could have come out together.
Right.
And she didn't. And, it's sad. But, I once told her I had big shoes to wear. And she said, no, you have your shoes next to mine. And that's good enough.
Oh,
So,
well, that is amazing. That is
she
amazing.
was a sweet woman. I mean, she's my queen. I honor her great.
Very nice. So when the attendees of the COCO stop by Karen Whitfield's table, what will they see?
They're going to see Batgirl. What they're going to see actually Barbara Gordon. You know, because I'm not suited up in my suit. I won't be suited up in my suit. So they'll be seeing Karen Whitfield as Barbara Gordon, but yet I will be, talking about Batgirl, talking about that time, making them feel comfortable like Batgirl and Barbara would, being their cheerleader, like she always does with people because she's so exciting and personable. And
Okay.
that's what I'll be seeing, and that's what they'll be seeing, And I love the stories. I love to ask people stories because that's how you learn about people. And I like asking, when it helps them to ask me actually what did I do or this or that. They always I start to ask them first, and
Right.
makes the conversation, I'm not. Is they're kind of scared, I mean, for people to come up to somebody and start talking to them, they're a little nervous. So it makes them not as nervous to, when you talk to them about them first.
Good. Good. Well, and we always end these brief discussions with a tough question, okay? A fun question, but a tough one. So the question for you is, if there was any other superhero that you could dress up as, well, who would you portray?
Wow, coach. There's a lot of superheroes out there. A lot of
Yeah,
superheroes out there. Um, um, wow. I would probably choose all day long again, Batgirl.
outstanding.
I,
Okay, very nice.
or I would choose her over any of them because of the character she is, the one she portrays, and that she's, one of the best team players there is in the universe. She's
Right,
brilliant. She's defined herself as her own superhero versus having her father or Batman define her.
right.
And I think I would choose Batgirl again.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Well, a huge thank you to you for joining us today and bringing a little Gotham magic to the Coco again on February 20th to the 22nd. From honoring the legacy of Batgirl to inspiring fans through cosplay. Yeah, you truly show what it means to be a hero on and off the convention floor. And once again, we want to say thank
Well, thank you
you.
for
Yeah.
everybody come and see us. The cosplayers, the fans,
And,
just everybody come and see us.
and once again, I want to thank everyone for their time today. Remember, continue being creative, continue endeavoring in your dreams. And as always, dare to dream. Have a good evening, and we will see you again. So,
Thank you. Bye.
bye bye.